Hey, popcorn evenings,
munching it around.
man.
Oh, okay. Give me some ideas there, Romy. Next
Oh,
time I'll bring
Oh, yeah.
some facts
you
along the way
should.
too.
Let's
So
go.
I'll make sure I'm muting right when I'm eating.
I've got my
Well,
water.
you can chew. It's fine. Oh, water. Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
I got
water.
too.
Water fast.
Well, you can buy these
That looks like a
silicone.
funnel.
Yeah. It's almost like a funnel. It actually folds up and collapses, but you can buy it at Amazon.
Oh,
And you basically, I warm up butter for like 30 seconds, and then I put in
Oh,
the
nice.
corn kernels and pop it for 2.5 minutes, and then add truffle
Oh,
salt after. The best thing,
oh,
man.
ooh,
Enjoyable,
truffle
ooh.
salt.
enjoyable. So,
Okay.
oh yeah, Luke, probably you don't eat butter, but what do you do?
I,
You can?
you know what? No, I don't. I mean, there is this. To be honest, I don't really have a lot of butter per se. I do like
Oh,
peanut butter though. Peanut butter is my jam.
Ooh.
yeah.
So
My
that's your
goodness.
fat choice of fat.
Yeah, I would say there's this peanut butter. Just yeah, peanut butter is something that goes through our household really like quickly.
Bam, done.
Myself, peanut butter, like seriously over any other butter. I mean, I do like
Yeah.
almond butter, but peanut is just good
Oh
old
yeah, it's different.
simple, straight to the point.
That yeasty kind of vibe. No. Just
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah,
You get some yeast
Do,
going.
do you like the
yeah.
soft liquid or the hard peanut butter, like the chunky?
Crunchy,
Oh, you like
Crunchy?
crunchy. Oh yeah. So
Yeah,
with
I
like
love crunchy,
you can
man.
see the nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You can see the nuts. You have to see the nuts. If
You
not, it's
have
not
to see
peanut
the
butter.
nuts. Has to
Hey,
be
Nadia.
naked.
Good
Oh,
evening, Nadia.
hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Hello.
Good night, everyone. Oh, Nadia's already
Hello,
leaving?
Nadia.
Or
Good night. Oh,
so far,
wow.
good
See
evening.
ya.
See you later.
Good
No,
night is
just
good.
yeah. Good night is good. Good night is good. But just
Yeah, good
jumping into
night.
today's topic, we are going to be talking about some of the projects that we've been working on and give ourselves some plugs. But
Mm.
how have you guys been? Please share your last week. How was it for you guys?
Well, last week I was away, so that was nice.
Mm.
Well, away, disconnected from social media, and it felt
Nice.
really good because it made me realize how imprisoned I was and getting more
Mm.
anxious and more anxious. So it's kind of like the ebbs and flows, and when we're inspired, we can keep going. But it comes a time where we're like, oh, I'm feeling that energy where it's tight.
Mm.
I'm
Mm.
tired. My sleep is not right. I'm feeling anxious in the morning, and
Yes.
that's a great time for a break. And I want to
Oh,
incorporate that same renewed energy that I got on my break into my day to day. So I
yes.
don't need to like go, and we talked about this before, the ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Well,
Mm.
to kind of like self clean and self correct along the way, so I can just maintain it at a high peak. So it's like, not like,
Yeah.
right, like that.
That's
Yeah,
true. That's true. Yeah. So
yeah.
kind of that fat adapted energy, keto energy. No.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
rather
more
than
about
that huge spike.
yeah, less spiky with like
That's
Mm.
carbs.
spiky.
I think yeah, it's there's so many parallels in just life too. Like
Mm.
I'm like at this age, in my early 40s, I can start seeing that everything has this kind of a frequency similarity. There's these like really high frequency stuff and really low frequency stuff, and kind of how
Yeah.
that affects people's moods. And same thing, yeah, we're constantly living in this very high frequency kind of vibe that
Mm.
we don't have that grounding kind of feel. We're always floating, which is not
Mm,
bad.
Mm.
It's there is a purpose behind it too, to get you excited and moving, and there's constantly this kind of edginess,
mm,
which I think it's great for, like, if you want to create something new, it's always
Mm.
great. But then when you want to come back to like rest and connection, there's this kind of a low frequency that you want to connect with, right? And that's kind of
Mm.
what keeps you grounded. And I think we are just talking about music, prior to getting
Mm.
onto this call, and same thing with music. You have these really calm type music which grounds you and kind of resets you and makes you feel that okay, you're like being covered and wrapped in a blanket. You feel safe. And then there's that really high beat, boop, 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 really high
Mm.
treble type music that gets you moving again. So
Oh,
um,
speaking of music, like I was at a Shambhala Music Festival as part of my
awesome.
getaway,
Nice.
and in the music, if you're a great DJ, you can cause me to dance all night. You can cause some people to dance all night. And
Yeah,
where does
yeah.
that energy come from?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
They know how
Yeah.
to raise that energy through the music, through the
Mm.
frequency of the
Mm-hmm.
sounds,
Mm-hmm.
and that gets going, and as well as the frequency and vibrations from other people around me.
Yes.
Seeing
Indeed.
someone
Good
totally
point.
crush a dance move, it's like,
Yeah.
Right.
I know. It's so
oh,
inspiring, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah.
makes you want to go as
Yep.
well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
I love it.
infectious.
Yeah, it is infectious. I remember going to, of course, dance festivals like that, and also going to one of the Anthony Robbins events,
Mm.
UPW,
Yep,
and it
yep.
was just incredible. Like I remember just looking around at other people, and I was with a friend there who was on a water fast, a 3rd-day water fast,
Wow.
and
Wow.
Anthony Robbins kind of events isn't. I mean, there are moments where it goes down into reflection, into gratitude, but everybody's like jumping and jumping, and I was jumping, and I was
Mm.
fasted, but it was just the energy of the room, the music. I think it's just like I find it's just so incredible when you're a room with like-minded people
Mm.
with vibrating at the same level, and you feed off each other, and it
Wow.
creates a beast, a beast of
Mhm.
a beast of energy, and everybody kind of molds and kind of travels along this whole journey and this whole energetic field together. It's amazing, man, when
Yeah.
everyone's in sync.
There's
Yeah.
that
Indeed.
construct that is set, and it becomes kind of this environment that people can live within.
Yeah.
I think,
It's
yeah,
an entity
yeah,
on its own, right? It's a
exactly.
living
It
entity, just
is. It
like
is.
a corporation
Yeah,
is not like a numbers or anything or something on a piece of paper. It's a organism. It's an
yeah,
entity of a group of people working in
exactly.
harmony.
Indeed.
Yeah.
No,
And speaking of energy as well, I don't know whether you guys find it. I mean, although I work for myself, and I do have a Monday to Friday, but I don't know about you guys, but I feel like Monday, although I don't have like a work schedule per se, Monday the energy is just lower. Friday the energy is higher. I don't know why. Maybe I'm absorbing the energy of the people going to work,
I think
the
so.
the hustle and bustle of people going on their commute, and I'm an adult, although I don't really have to work at a certain time. Do you
Yeah,
guys find that
I do.
there is kind of
I,
those
I think that
Mondayitis? All Yep, go ahead.
I think it comes back to what I think you shared it last week or the week before about that projection thing. What's in your mind, what comes out of your mouth, and how you
Mm,
set that onto people.
mm,
This kind of let's say even 3 meals a day, for example.
mm,
I think it's a projection of like culture.
Mm,
Same
mm,
thing, work culture. The Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, whatever
mm,
that time frame
mm,
is a projection of expectation that
mm,
sets this sets objectivity within a very free, like, what does Monday to Friday or Monday to Sunday
mm,
actually mean? They're actually just days, and
mm,
sure, we follow like a circadian kind of a construct of the 12 months, and it's what, 364 days and a quarter day or something, and that's why you get that leap day in February every 4 years.
mm.
But it's, I don't know, I think those are all, it is all concepts that's based on science, but also made up by people, that
Sure.
you kind of have to follow if you want to be part of
Mm,
the system. So
mm,
yes, I agree with you that there is that, let's say, that Mondayitis. I don't focus on that a lot anymore. It's more my
mm,
day is my day. And I know
mm,
three of us, we actually do that for ourselves. But when we
mm,
start plugging into interaction with other people,
mm,
it's hard to get out of
mm.
that mold of this protocol, and rules, right? So,
Correct.
but I don't know if it's anything negative, because we can easily combat that. Like, you're a great breath work
Mhm.
specialist and a coach, Luke. So I'm sure you can just breathe through it, and you'll be like, ah, yeah, it's just another day. So,
mm,
Mm,
but
mm.
no, I don't know if you feel that, Andre, in terms of
Oh,
the.
yeah, I do. I mean, being 12 years in the corporate career, I'm
Oh
still
yeah.
unpacking that social construct, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even though I'm self-employed and any day can be my weekend, I
Yeah.
also see myself conforming to people's schedule. So
mm,
not reaching out until doing business on the weekend is respecting
mm,
you and your family time.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
And on Monday when it comes, it's like, well,
You
it's
go hard.
Monday, as expected. Let's talk business, right? Let's
Exactly.
Mm,
set some meetings up. So I do that in accordance to like just respecting the typical 9 to 5 because that's still
mm,
predominantly way the world runs still until everyone is an entrepreneur and everybody has
mm.
multiple streams of income or businesses. Majority of the world still work in a
Functions
company.
that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I gotta consider that, and that bleeds into my beingness as well. Because yes, it is a construct of this mentalism that we don't know where it comes from. Maybe the social construct, Though if everything is energy, then that energy of the majority of the public also affects me as well in my
Yeah,
beingness,
Agreed.
of course.
because I
Agreed.
feel it in the city. I feel it on Sunday where there's a lull.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because if there's an
Yeah.
errand day or something before the
Mm.
Monday, and I see on
Mm.
Monday it's a bit slower, and then as it builds up, the traffic on the roads gets busier and busier. I see it.
Mm.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you see
Mm.
Friday rush hour.
yeah,
So many cars are on the road.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're ready to
I'm
peace
not sure
out.
what it is.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very like that,
I,
right? And you see during the day and a Saturday, it's quiet, it's a lull.
Mm.
Like you can even see with the weather. You can even see with
mm,
sports teams winning or losing. There's a vibrancy to a city, and it's
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
collective.
There's a life to it, right? And
Mm,
I agree. I because I've lived in different countries too. There is definitely a different way of projection, I guess, of culture into the people. Let's say when I lived back in Taiwan, when it was super high density, the population
Mm.
density is super high. Everything's like buildings, and there's
Mm.
life throughout the whole day for 24 hours. You can hang out at a 7-Eleven. It's 24
Mm.
hours. You can hang out there. There's liquor in there too, and there's different foods in there
Everything.
too.
Yeah.
They've got everything you can imagine in there, and they have
Yeah.
seating there that you can actually just
Oh,
chill
you
there
could
as
eat,
yeah,
drink as well, hang
just
out.
chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Wow.
it's
Yeah.
such a different vibe where it's the city doesn't sleep anymore. Whereas compared to
Mm.
Edmonton here, I think
Mm,
past 9 p.m. things kind of start
Yeah.
dying literally. Like things just peace out, and everyone's like, go home. There's
Yeah.
a very invisible curfew that kind of happens, and you're like,
oh boy.
okay, if you really need something, let's get it at like 8:50 at the latest.
Oh,
Yeah,
especially on the island, I hear people coming back from Vancouver Island, and
yeah,
there's some
yeah,
remote
Mm.
spots
yeah.
where there's no time schedule. So
Okay,
you're trying to find a place that's open for coffee.
yeah.
All the time schedules
A
are
different.
determined by the business owner on that day.
Oh
So they
wow.
decide
Right.
whether they open or close, and there's no fixed time. So you're driving around this place, and things are closed
Uh,
by 3
Trying to look
p.m.
for
You're like, "I'm trying
yeah.
to
coffee.
get
Everyone's
coffee."
all
Done.
closed.
Yeah.
Like done. Oh,
Yeah.
hello, hello. Hey,
Oh, hey, Chelsea.
Chelsea. Great to see you. Chelsea, amazing business leader too. Great at what
Mhm.
she does, but would actually love to have her on the show one day too. But yes, we are talking about the different energies in the city. Oh, energies that culture and people give and projects back to us, kind of a
Mhm.
little
Mm-hmm.
bit about the Mondayitis when Monday
Mhm.
happens.
Mhm.
But I think it always comes because of Sunday. There's a contrast. Whenever something you see, it's that's obvious or painful or joyful, it's always because there's something that's the opposite that's happening.
Mhm.
So it's like coming from Sunday. I actually don't like Sunday that much, especially
Mm.
the second half of the day. You're like, Monday's coming up, and
Yeah.
There's a Sunday. There's a Sunday playlist as well.
exactly, and that's what makes Monday worse, I think. If
Mm.
Monday was right after Tuesday, let's say, that's why I love Tuesday personally a lot. It's a hard working day for me. I love it when it's raining on Tuesday. I can be indoors. It's
Mhm.
like I'm dialed into work,
Mhm.
because Monday people kind of like reignite, or kind of got start their work kind of vibes again, and they're kind of in the momentum already starting Tuesday. So it's easier to talk about concepts, easier to negotiate, easier to sell, I find. Yeah.
See, there's circadian rhythms
Yeah.
and proper times for cold calls.
Yes.
So with social media
Great.
engagement, and
Yeah.
there's always studies around that, right? Where
Yeah.
people are most active during these times. So
Hmm.
hey, we're tribal in
Exactly.
that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
Agreed.
when you know the rules, play to the rules first. Like they talk about, like, you got to be able to repeat it first, then remember it, and then you can execute it. So it's if people don't know, let's say it's your message, right? You want to create this kind of your service, or something that you can help people with. They have to know what it is first, and they remember that. Oh, okay, this thing exists, and then they'll be able to
Mm,
execute it, and be like, oh, Andre can help me with this, right? So, ooh,
mm.
Chelsea says Monday is for setting the table, so you can devour the rest of.
I
Oh,
love
I
it.
like
Love
that.
it.
amazing,
That's
Set in the
so
amazing.
good.
table and actually eat. I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Really good.
Love it. I love eating in general. So,
Mm. Yeah.
recently I just did a photo shoot at the Edmonton Valley Zoo. Recently, they reopened their carousel. So they used to have a carousel that was built back in the 50s that they repurposed. And amazing talents in the painting world, in the carving world, all came and like built these little very niche type animals that represented a lot of different things. But anyways, I got a lot of
Wow.
cupcakes that were for the kids because in the end, they were all of them weren't taken, so I took like 12 of them. And yeah, I've been eating
That was a
those
good number. Yeah.
post workout
Yeah.
for
The
muscle
you said the
glycogen.
kids or the
Yeah,
kid.
yeah, it's for the kid. Yeah, me, yeah, specifically. But no, it's. I think that's really well put, Chelsea, in terms
Mm,
of setting yourself up for success is
mm,
definitely a great way to make not seemingly enjoyable things
mm.
better. It's to use
Mm.
that as a launch pad, basically, right?
Ah,
So
Correct.
yeah,
right.
which I think
Ease
is a great.
into it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And nothing's too bad. Oh, last week for me was actually pretty challenging. There's a bunch of different things in
Mm.
life that challenges came that I didn't know how to handle or didn't know where to source the information.
Mm.
And you learn the hard way. It's just like you have to keep trudging through. And it's weird. I knew when there's negative things happening, there's always a positive transition point that happens. And that was yesterday. So for
Mm.
me. So it's like, oh, okay, good. This is kind of part of the rhythm. I'm
Mm.
like, there's so much shit happening, and then finally I have something that's like changes the path for me. So learned a lot, which is
Mm.
good. Lifelong learning. So never be
Very
afraid to
good.
learn. Yeah, be
And
brave
always
enough
keep
to.
pushing forwards.
Yeah, and you have to. There's no other.
Hmm.
There's situations that you're like, things that you didn't set up well or you didn't prepare yourself well, and they come and bite you, in the bum like after, and you're like,
Yeah.
what do you do?
It's the resiliency, right?
Yep,
Mm.
keep moving, keep moving. But yes, let's jump back to the original topic of
Yeah.
shameless plugging our projects. But Andre, can you share with us a little bit about
Yeah. Well,
what
speaking
you've
of
been working?
resiliency, my current project right now is mental fitness, which
Mm,
talks about really training your mind muscles so that you respond from. I always love using the Star Wars example,
mm,
your inner Jedi instead of your inner Darth Vader.
yeah.
So I have a pod I'm starting every month. I have one coming up in August on the third week of August.
Okay.
I'm inviting anyone that's open to building that mind muscle. And I guess what would you receive from that? Is your ability to bounce back quicker. That's it. Because we'll always experience negative thoughts, the limiting beliefs, the self sabotage behavior. And I'll put it in words like procrastination, that comes up,
Mhm,
right?
Mm.
mhm,
Fear, all sorts of fear comes up, right?
mhm,
Frustrations, emotions, yes. So it's our ability to really switch from that. And the great thing about this work is that there's no need to dive into the past. There's no need to release something from our traumas. It's focusing on what's getting in our way right now,
mm,
immediately. So it's supplemental to like therapy. It's an addition to therapy, but we don't focus on those subsets. We focus on what's getting away now and then be future focused. So to plug it in is looking for people that want to be a mental fitness trainer. Train with me for 8 weeks, very intensive because you're building new neural pathways and be an inner Jedi for most of the time. And it's lifelong, just like a gym membership. As long as you're committed to being healthy, your mental fitness is a lifelong journey, just as learning. So we do it in a pod with a group of people and we hold each other accountable. That's a big piece, is that we get to learn from each other. Just like this group here is a microcosm of what we have at home, in our families, at work. So we get to do with like-minded people.
fantastically shared.
Love it.
Just to jump on that piece of mental health, there's four pillars. I forgot who said it, but someone on LinkedIn. The first thing is your physical health, your physical
Mm,
fitness. What's your story? Oh, Andre, missed your intro.
Mm.
Chelsea will definitely get Andre to share.
yeah.
Great story. So first one is the fitness, physical fitness. Second is mental fitness. Third
Mm,
is your spiritual fitness, and the last but definitely not least two is financial fitness. So,
mm,
but it does go in that order because even if you had a lot of money and you didn't have, your health, your mental health, and a
mm.
purpose, life is really really challenging to navigate. But yeah, Andre, if you don't mind sharing a little bit from our guests,
Oh,
Chelsea.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'll do a little short
Yep.
cold version of it, and we would love for all of us to share our stories as well, right?
Mm, for sure.
Lay the groundwork for that.
Yeah.
So myself, born in Edmonton, Alberta, though, really lost for a long time, and didn't really connect with my parents' draconian ways of discipline. So kind of like, oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you're so stupid, and comparing me with other kids. Well, I guess it was self-fulfilling prophecy. So I got involved with drugs and alcohol early on in junior high, started skipping school. And I only got my act together because my brother and sister came into the picture 9 years apart. That's when I'm like, okay, I don't want to endanger my family with that. So I got out of the game. Though
Yeah.
I felt I was stupid, like I wasn't worthy of anything. So I'm like, what should I do? So I had a lot of vices, video games in one particular. So I decided to do computer programming, thinking that
Oh,
video games is the answer. I'll be playing video games, right?
yeah,
No, no, it was the exact opposite, right? It was like a lot of math and it
yeah.
was just a lot of numbers and oh my god,
Logic.
it drained my energy. Though I did it, and
Mhm.
that was the first time I started cracking the kink that I wasn't smart enough because when I applied myself, passed with honors. Well, fast forward, I just did the whole escalator life for a long time. I had
Mhm.
a relationship I was in for 7 years, attached to it, lost myself. I climbed the corporate ladder, doing a job that I wasn't really fulfilled, did it just for the money and just because I was comfortable. It's
Mhm.
not until I got into sales about 7 years ago that changed everything. So sales was a way for me to step into my power with personal
Mhm.
development and then never look back. So now I'm so passionate about that that I get to now serve by just getting to know myself better and better. Really, my end goal is to help people become their best version. Because as I help them become their best version, it helps me become my best. And I can create paradise on earth by empowering people individually to take responsibility for their lives instead of giving their power away. Because
Mhm.
there's strength in numbers. It's not waiting for someone else to do it for us. It's not
Mhm.
that. The secret is from within.
Yeah.
And once you take that power back, you can actually create a life by design and have fun and be playful
Mm,
and actually be a creator, be your own economy and work with other people to create that as well. So that's what I do now is really all personal development. I live and breathe it, all about mindset. And
mm,
one four-way, my entrance is mental fitness. But what I'm really loving is spiritual science, energy work.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's the next level for me that I'm diving
mm.
into.
Amazing. Holy, so
Amazing.
so succinct.
So much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
So
I know
much
much.
that's
there,
not
Andre.
No, it's which is
That's
awesome.
it for now.
I
Yeah.
think you live it. You live kind of
Yeah. You embody it.
um, you live your whole being and your life so far in the present, which I think is really really unique and really interesting.
Mm,
That's kind of how I see us, like Luke, Andre, myself too,
Mm,
is how we can live our whole life constantly in this moment. So. I think a lot of people just either get stuck in the past or too much in the future, because humans are like I think one of the only animals that's able to do that is to live in the past. Oh, hey Benny.
mm. Yeah, my pleasure, Benny.
Great.
Yeah.
Benny, also, all the people that are jumping on, my friends are fantastic. I'm sure the friends that I don't know too are fantastic, but thanks so much for joining us. But we are sharing kind of our brief story and kind of what we're working on and how we can help people with our own journeys and stuff too. But Luke, you also have
yeah.
an amazing
Sure.
story. So please do share.
Yeah, I guess if someone were to stop me in the elevator and ask me what I do, I would say I elevate, strengthen men to achieve new levels of consciousness. So,
Mm,
what does that actually mean? Elevate, strengthen men to achieve new. Why specifically men? Well, the thing is that I feel as a father of two little girls right now, I feel like a lot of the problems in the world will not exist to a certain degree if there are more present fathers, more present
Amazing.
men of the house. Because if there are more present men in the house, being balanced between the masculine and feminine energies, I think we've chatted a little bit about that. There'll be less crime, there'll be less rape, there'll be less wars,
Mm,
because
mm,
we're all, I mean, humans were tribal. We want to stick together, we want to support each other. I think by nature, I believe we're kind. So I think the reason why I've come to this point is because I came from a background of I did not have a very strong role model, and like Andre, I was a feminine man. I was a yes man. I felt I was stupid. I was a kinesthetic learner. I did not fit in the academic system. I was born in Singapore, spent half my life in Melbourne, Australia. So all my life, I was fed this narrative like you need to be a doctor, you need to be an accountant, you need to be this. Why can't you be like this other child there? Why can't you be like this Sarah's son, and there was always this mentality of I was not good enough. I
Mm.
was lacking validations. Also, all I carried that throughout my whole life of not being good enough and just kind of going with being a round peg being jammed into a square hole. So all of that kind of climax at about 2008 when the global financial crisis hit, and I lost my job in a corporate role in Australia, Melbourne, Australia, and I hit rock bottom. And I was in a relationship that wasn't the best for me at that point in time. We weren't the best for each other, and that sparked my kind of journey into depression. And around that time, I was dabbling with recreational drugs as well. Very, very similar stories, Andre, with you when you were sharing. And I was seeking escape and connection through external means when I
Mhm.
realized that I was not looking inwards. I was just trying to look outwards to find my truth and to find connection with the source. And it was only until there were three pivotal moments. One pivotal moment in my life was attempting to take my own life. One Melbourne night in psychosis. Fortunately, I didn't. The emergency services found me just in time, so it wasn't my time yet. Second time was got in trouble with the law, and third time was I was caught cheating on my ex, and that was the lowest point of my life when everyone, everything turned around me and faced me, and just I was the scum of the earth. I actually felt like the scum of the earth. So I literally went down into my own pit until I made the decision to turn my life around. And when I made the decision to turn my life around, it was a crisp Melbourne morning, and I made the decision at that point that this is not the way that I want to live any longer. I was in guilt, and shame is one of the lowest
Mm.
emotions that
Yeah.
a person can experience.
Yeah.
Guilt is one thing, but shame is another. So I just felt shame. I just like, screw it. I'm just gonna turn my life around. So at that point, I just started a new job as a personal trainer, and I decided to commit all my focus into physical development. So I competed in my first bodybuilding competition. I just wanted to put my blinkers on, just get out of that kind of shame and just focus on, all right, I got to compete. So I placed in that competition. So subsequently, I turned vegan because I watched a documentary on animal cruelty, and it's like I can't contribute to animal cruelty in this industry any longer. So I turned vegan, and I about to stand on stage again as a 100% plant-based athlete. So that was kind of my purpose and my path into competing, and now moving forwards to where I am right now. Plus, a lot has happened since then, but jumping straight to the point, like now I look at personal development and personal growth as a very integrated approach. It's because we're not a body. The body is I train my body so that my mind can function, so that I have greater alignment in all aspects of my life. Alignment, what does alignment mean? My physical body is the vehicle to a certain degree. Then there's the mental and the emotional awareness, emotional purging my own toxic emotions, and potentially my past as well, and judgments that I have of others, and then intuition, learning to tap into my intuition, and also and being able to listen to the inner voice, but also gain insights from the energy around me, and also seeking purpose and alignment from the source, God, the divine, the universe, whatever you want to call it. And for me, I look at growth that way, and I want to help men achieve that growth: physical, mental, emotional, intuitional, kokoro, in service of a different world. And really, that's why this my project right now is Free Human Project, which I'll go into that a little bit later. So that is a little bit of my life in a nutshell, from darkness to light, and hopefully, a more united world that is filled with love, compassion for each other, and a mindset of abundance rather than
Yeah.
scarcity.
Yes.
Totally.
Abundance and love.
Totally.
Exactly. And your
World
shadow
peace.
cannot exist without your light.
That's right.
Agreed,
Contrast.
100%. It
Like
is.
Sunday to Monday. Oh
It's
no,
all.
like Friday to Saturday. I think that's the best transition probably. The Friday evening to
Mm,
the Saturday. Oh,
Oh,
you got a long. Oh,
oh,
that's a
yeah.
great
yeah.
a great vibe to feel. But no, thank you so much, friends, for
Yeah.
sharing. My
Pleasure.
story is quite different. I come from a jazz musician and jazz producing family and event production family, and middle high income family that definitely didn't have to worry about a lot of the common type of 9 to 5 jobs. My parents were entrepreneurs too, and they've been constantly building environments for other people to live joyfully in. So creating moments of beautiful music, beautiful interactions, people dance and stuff. And so I was very naive growing up, not understanding kind of what the world kind of seeks and what it yearns for. And it was only until I was sent out to Canada in Edmonton, Alberta. That's where I met Andre. That I started learning about, oh, people have different perspectives about life. There's a reality to it where you have to build for yourself. There's this first impression that you have to constantly be holding because there's a reputation that you have to uphold. And that's kind of where I started to put a lot of study into people because I love people. And I found the best vehicle to do that was through photography because I'm able to capture people in their purest form, their most
Mm.
vulnerable form, but also at their highest form. Because, like when I photograph weddings or really awesome marketing campaigns, I get to see people at their best. They're always packaged to the top. But there comes to those raw emotions too when I photograph events of like parents sending off their daughter to a new family when they get married, and that tear, sadness, joy. So from those two, from what I've been doing, I'm able to really, really, truly feel how people react to their environment, how they interact with each other, and also their past and their future. And what I try to help people now is help them construct their first impression, their profile, and how do you build yourself so that when people see you, it's how you want them to see you, and you don't leave that by chance anymore. So I always use kind of my scene, for example, all this equipment and all that stuff. I'm still Romy, but if people didn't know me and they saw this, they'll be like, oh, this person knows tech. The lighting's great. It sounds great. Not that everyone needs to have this equipment, but just letting people know that there is, if you make this important in your life of showing up how you want people to see you, you will get the abundance that you want. And I think with Luke and Andre, we keep talking about this abundance thing because a lot of people live through fear and not through love and abundance. That's kind of where it comes from. And because my family has shown me so much love through my whole life, that I never felt that I was seeing from that lens of lack. Sometimes I'm so naive that I'm like, oh, there's tons of this, but there might not be. But that belief of knowing that there's a lot of something, and how powerful your mind can be, can also make that into reality. That self-fulfilling prophecy can also work in a very, very positive way. So it's like, how do you see yourself in a very creation mode rather than a consumption mode? Like, I think there are too many like consumers now in terms of being so passive about information. How can we be the one leading with good, loving, and abundant information for people?
Mm.
But yeah, that is what I believe my purpose is, on earth. I don't have this whole hero's journey story. It's probably more of a discovery of my inner
Mm.
charm, like this unbreakable confidence and charm that you have. So charm is basically charisma, but there's a very caring connection to the person that's interacting with you. So let's say if you see someone that's super confident, they're able to give you that confidence too, and kind of spills over to you, and you feel this blanket of care, that, oh,
Mm.
this confident person is trying to make me confident in what I'm doing too. So that's constantly what I search for.
Mm.
It's seeing people that don't know how to shine their light and bring it out of them, and have fun together while
Mm.
doing it too. So but yeah, so that
Mm.
is my story. I'm
Love it,
always
Robbie.
here. Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you
love
so
it.
much.
Like that's why we sync, right? We build people
Mm.
up. We don't tear people
Yes,
down.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Oh, nice. The world needs more of the energy you all put out. Oh, thanks,
Mm.
Joan.
One is
Thank you, Joan.
Yes, pronounced
one.
Joan like phone. Oh, nice.
Mhm.
Never forget that one.
Apparently, people have not been. They probably pronounce it Joanne or something, right? So,
Yeah. It's like, stop
Mm,
it, it's Joan.
well, it's like
yeah.
me when I say row me, it's actually like rowing a
Yeah.
boat, and some people
Yeah.
call me raw me because technically that's
Uh,
how it's supposed to be pronounced. But I'm like row a boat, so I'm like call me
and
something else.
mine is
Um,
like wong 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 wong.
yeah, yeah,
Now
yeah,
you
yeah,
remember it.
exactly, exactly. Boom, boom. So yeah, I guess
Mm.
Andre, you have your so mindset pod that you're mentioning about
Yeah, mental fitness
August.
in August. So August 23rd. So on the Monday or the Tuesday there. So the third week of August,
Yeah,
I'm building a group to join into a pod. Yeah. So
beautiful, beautiful.
mhm.
Laughing out loud here in San Diego. That's awesome. Oh, beautiful zoo there, by the way. I've been there. So, but so I do have something too that I'm working on is this called Unbreakable Confidence and seeking and discovering your inner charm. So it's how can you build yourself? How can you realize your inner charm so much that anything you say you don't have to question anymore? It's a very confident kind of a projection because I think like what Luke was sharing about, Mondays, and we started getting into conversation about cultural projection of how your environment projects to you constantly to make you feel like you have to be a certain way to be included, and be part of something. It's we have that power to do the same to our environment and to the interactions that we have with other people. And I'm creating a course right now basically on that. I don't have a definitive date yet, but um, we will be having some speaking engagements in November, heading potentially to Singapore and to see Luke specifically. No, no, just kidding.
Look
That
forward
too, but yeah,
look
I'll
forward to it,
definitely come
man.
see you. But also Bali. There's a retreat there that might be presenting and also attending. But we'll be shortly announcing some courses because I do feel the power that I can help people, and I sometimes take it for granted. The tools that I've kind of sharpened that comes very easy to me now, that I can easily help someone, that is having a challenging time in their life. Not in only business, but even their personal life. Of how do you make genuine connections, and how can you eventually also help other people too? Because sometimes I find when people are down at them, on themselves, it's very hard to look outwards. It's always this very like internal kind of looking at yourself, how crappy you are, how everything's down, 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 until you help them kind of like flip the camera basically. And like start looking outwards, in terms of the light that you have, the charm that you have, and how can you reach out to help other people. So that's always going to be the theme of my courses, in terms of presenting yourself the way that you want people to truly see you. So, um, but yeah, Luke, you can talk about Free Human
Amazing.
Project. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, free human project. I mean, right now I'm still in the process of building a 5-day challenge. So the 5-day challenge is called the Superhuman Challenge, and it
Mhm.
integrates all of me and my business partner training, nutrition, breath work, and
Nice.
also emotional kind of skills, emotional challenges as well. And the reason why the Superhuman Challenge exists was, I would say, really it spawned off the past 2 years. The past 2 years has been difficult for many people, and it exposed a lot of gaps in lives of many people. And I look at the gaps in the four pillars. Really, the first thing is function. Function.
Mhm.
People aren't moving. People are stuck at home. And we were sedentary before, but when you're stuck at home, it just
Of course.
compounds. Everything
Yeah.
compounds, and then of course, the next thing is fuel, because people were getting sicker and sicker. People who were sick were getting sicker as a result of the virus, being in lockdowns. And the next one is the rise in domestic violence as well,
Mm.
because there's a lot of problems, and finally people were lost their jobs as well. So the whole purpose of Free Human is to look at the solutions for these four areas of function, fuel, fire, and families, and looking at it as a whole perspective of how you can be free the next time potentially something like that happens, or really when life throws curveballs at you. And the Superhuman Challenge revolves around five daily tasks, and it includes live workouts, breathwork sessions, food upgrades, but also it revolves around, I would say, virtues as well. Virtues like purpose, why are you here? What is your reason? What is your purpose? And what is that one thing that you want to do in this world and the impact that you like to make? Things like courage as well is another virtue, respect for yourself and the community, resilience to bounce back up when you're hit by life's curveballs, and finally growth through the four pillars. So I'm still building the 5 day challenge. There's a lot of moving pieces as I've, but I would say it's starting by building a healthy body and a healthy mind and a clean mind. And as I shared before, the first part is just your physical body, the vehicle, because this is what will carry me through this life.
Mm.
And this vehicle is, and I believe I'm a spirit having a human existence right now. So this vehicle that I'm driving is my physical body. The spirit is the driver. The driver can change any car. I can go into Uber. So the first part of the first piece of the puzzle is the superhuman challenge, which looks at these aspects of breath work, training, and nutrition, because your gut is your second brain. What you eat is how you think and how you feel and how you show up in the world. And if there is gut dysbiosis, you're not going to be thinking clearly. Clearly, you're going to be more in a sympathetic state. You're going to be more stressed. So taking in breath work as well, being able to manage the mental chatter. So it's quite a lot of moving pieces synthesized into this 5 day challenge with a community. So I'm really excited to be kind of moving in this direction. There's a few pieces that need to come together, but I'm looking to launch it actually in September 12th. So that's
Whoa,
immediately
that's
after.
soon.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's really, really soon. So that's after, I'm flying to France in a few weeks time. So once I come back from France, this will be the challenge. And I'm really excited to be able to, it's a free challenge. It's to be able to serve, to be able to connect
Mm,
with people, to be able to share, share everything, breath work, share about nutrition, share about training as well, and just to be able to make a difference in some way or form. And if the person if anyone that comes through this challenge, makes a shift in the way they eat, just
mhm.
adding more movement in their day, my job is done. So quite
Yeah,
excited about it.
I,
Yeah.
I think just to kind of round out what you shared there, there is
Mm,
a lot of complexity and structure
mm,
in your program, but
mm.
you truly live it, Luke. If you guys haven't followed
Thank you.
Luke yet, do take a look at his channel too. It's you don't have to say anything. Usually, when you show what you do, it's like wow. The mobility, the breath work, your interaction with your family, these are all a big part of the Free Human Project that
Mm.
I believe you live what you preach, which is
Thank
fantastic.
you.
And it's the
Thank
best
you.
example that people can be inspired by.
Mm,
Is for someone to act out what they're preaching. I know
Absolutely.
quite a
mm,
lot of people that just say shit, right? So it's like,
mm,
how do you actually live it? And I think all three of us here, we live
mm.
what we're preaching.
Great.
And we want people not, and we're not selfish about it either. Like we
Mm,
want to help people to achieve kind of this revelation that happened in us, and so that we can also inspire you to discover your own. It's not that you have to live our
mm,
style, but you have your own light to shine, and
mm-hmm.
discover that through either really strong mindset shifting with Andre, or this whole kind of human restructuring in yourself and kind of like open up again, and then I can help with how do you program that optics of how people
Mm,
can visualize what you truly want to become, because these are all very important pieces, some internal, some external, and some kind of
mm,
that balance between the two. But great job, my good
Mhm.
friends.
I love it.
But no, this is awesome. I love these
mm,
very inspiring talks, and hopefully, we can share with our friends when the programs do become
mm.
like available to people too. But yeah, we keep living what we're preaching,
Mm,
and
That
having
source of
fun at
inspiration, right, is
yes,
showing up
yeah.
as that person, and
yes,
there's no need for any convincing or even
yep,
speech.
Mm,
yep,
mm,
By your actions, that creates ripple effects, like the
allow it,
mm,
bystander effect, right? If
yep,
someone were to treat someone with kindness and you witness that,
mm, yep,
or picking up
absolutely,
someone or giving someone change, and that
hmm,
in the turns like, oh, I want to do that for someone else as well.
yeah,
It's just
yeah,
a psychological thing,
yeah.
a tribal thing, a reciprocal thing.
mm,
Yeah, that happens.
No,
Yeah.
totally. I think it's also bringing it
mm,
even dumbing it down even more into food. So setting the
mm,
table from Chelsea when she put it on
mm.
the table
Love it.
is when you're sitting down and there's usually a dish that flies by, you're like super hungry, you just ordered, and the waiter like comes out with a dish, and then you're like, "That's mine," and no, it's not. It just kind of like passes you and goes somewhere else. It's like, oh, but that person's ordering that. It's that same
Mm,
inspiring thought of like, oh, there's something new and exciting that I've never seen before. Can you be that kind of an inspiration and getting people excited about themselves and that they have this power to also achieve that same thing? I think it's
mm,
I want the world to be like that. It's you're constantly inspiring and you're trying to spread the joy and the fun of
mm,
it. I know it sounds cliched in terms of like world peace kind of a thing, but
mm,
I truly feel that it's way happier now. Like I've
mm,
this past week about the challenges, I've dealt with people that first approached me in a very intense negative manner,
mm,
that became an argument basically. But then after a day, it transitioned into something positive where there's a mutual respect and we actually want to keep talking to each other and develop a stronger relationship. Not talking about my wife. I love my wife a lot. That happens still, but I know that sounds totally like my wife to a certain extent.
No, not
But
at all, man.
it's actually a business. I know I totally just like projected that on everybody, but it's this thing about there is a possibility always of love and abundance and joy
Yes.
in
mm,
everything that you do, and
mm,
don't let go of it. Sometimes we jump back to our that primal characteristics and we just
Yeah.
give up and we cut on
mm,
we cut off what's possible because we're
Yeah.
like, this is not worth our time. Sometimes it does end up being like that, but don't give up too soon because there's always that light
Yeah.
in the interaction.
Unfortunately, we live in a
mm,
civilized society of laws, right?
mm,
Yeah,
mm,
true.
And the laws allow freedom to flourish. Freedom cannot exist without
mm,
Yes,
structure.
yes.
So fear is just an illusion right now in this
Yep,
modern world, right?
yep,
It's
mm,
just an illusion that anything that's fear is not true.
yep.
And
mm,
the way I show up, if I show up with being kind and being compassion, that's it. That leads to
mm.
abundance level
Hundred
thinking.
percent,
There's more
100%.
Yeah,
practice of that to create the discernment between fear and love. Yeah.
yeah,
So
I love that.
awesome. I actually want to share with you a quote really quickly, but Luke, go ahead first.
Oh no, no, I'm just saying that it's amazing, Andre, and I find that yeah, agreed. I mean, fear creates polarity, fear creates uh conflict as well. So I think like you, showing up for me is breathing, creating space because a lot of times, especially in this hyper connected and hyper speed world, we're just constantly doing, being. And it was just amazing just the other day when I was waiting for my daughter to get something. And normally I would grab my phone and okay, I'm gonna go on my Kindle, I'm gonna go my Audible just to fill the gap. But it
Mhm.
was nice to just be able to sit there in my own silence and just breathe and really tap into my senses of the sounds that are around me. And in that moment, I created space and calm within me, which I didn't have prior to that. So I think it's creating a practice out of that to be present and to breathe into the present moment. And that's why for me,
Mm,
one of the I specialize in breath work, but the breath pulls everything together. It is nothing, but at the same time, it is everything. It's so simple to access, but at the same time, it's difficult. It is a polarity, isn't it? So the thing
mm,
is that breathing during a conversation, breathing in the words that a person is speaking to you, breathing in the sunshine, breathing in the cup of coffee that I was drinking this morning, it changes the whole experience because it
Yeah.
allows for me to be fully present and fully connected. And that's really what the whole human experience is about, isn't it? It's about being living right now, not worrying about the bills
Totally.
tomorrow or
Yeah.
the baggage that we used to have. But it's about this present moment, and this present has already become the past by saying the word present. So I
Yeah.
think
Mm,
it's how for me at least, it's how I can grasp this present moment. And I find that in how I can do that is the breath, and it's something so easy, but at the same time for me still hard to remember because it's so automatic. It's always
yes. You
there.
take it for
We
granted, right?
take it
Yeah,
for
yeah.
granted. Yeah, we take it for granted. I'm
100%.
breathing, I sleep and breathe. So I think it's one
Well,
of
it's a
those things
reflex
where
too, right? It naturally will
it
happen
is
if you choke
it
yourself
is
to you like black out. Like your body will have to come. It comes back by itself. But yeah, this comes back
The
to
practice.
Schrodinger's cat kind of experiment
No,
where
not
when the
the
yeah.
cat's in
physics.
the box, you don't know if it's dead or alive. So technically, if you
Mm,
don't until you open the box, the cat can exist in both
States.
states. So it's like same thing what you're talking about, Luke, where breathing,
mm,
a lot of things in in quantum, Andre, I think you shared that too. It's a lot of things exist in both the on
mm,
and the off, or it doesn't necessarily have your on and off, but there's that duality in existence of it's moving or it's not moving. So they
mm,
talk about electrons, like when you observe it, it can act differently too, but it can be in a state of movement and not movement at the same time. And it's really
Mhm.
hard for
mm,
people to sometimes wrap your head around that. Um, but that's where it's the possibilities are literally infinite. So it's you to dictate how you want that possibility to be. So you have that like infinite power in your mind,
Right. Yeah.
which is
The
amazing.
world is
mm,
as you are, right?
Yes,
It's how
mm,
you perceive it. Simply as that.
exactly,
And
exactly.
yeah. Yeah.
agreed.
How
And
you want it.
we don't know what we don't know, right? So it's
Yep.
like
Mm,
we interpret things based on our original understanding of things. So when something's
mm,
outside of it, we're like, oh, it's not
Yeah.
possible. It's
Yeah.
magic, right? Until science catches up, and
mhm,
Yeah.
then
Yeah. Well, or you can again project that you know that there is a possibility of the unknown.
faith.
And I think,
Yeah.
yeah, and that faith and knowing that it's okay to not know either. I
Yeah.
think it's another big piece.
mm.
But that being said, would love Luke to lead us to our
Sure,
conclusion
Oh,
for our meeting, end of our meeting with some breath work, and we can share with
wait.
definitely.
our watching
Did you have
viewers.
a quote you wanted to share, Romy?
Yeah,
Oh,
I was waiting for the quote. I was
oh
hanging on my
shoot!
seat
Oh,
for
well,
that
that
one.
was kind of the quote, the Schrodinger's cat
Oh,
thing. So,
oh,
but it is important though. I really think that people should understand that the possibilities of things are almost infinite, but
mm.
understand that you have the power to dictate.
Hey man,
Yeah,
the mainstream movies and media is catching up. We have
I
Stranger
know.
Things, we have
Oh
Doctor
yeah,
Strange, multiverse conversations,
so
right?
good,
Loki. So something's
Yeah,
so
happening, right?
good,
So
it
so
it's
is.
good.
changing of consciousness, rise in it.
Totally, totally. But yes, Luke, we
Yeah,
will allow you to take it
awesome.
away.
All right, everyone, please assume your rest but upright posture. So imagine a string is just pulling you up into the sky, but you're just slightly relaxed with your chin slightly tucked. And when you're ready, just feel free to close your eyes and just settle into your breath. Really start paying attention to the breath that's coming in and invite that air to come in through your nostril, filling all the way down to your belly and releasing. And be curious of each breath coming in. What does it say about how you feel today? How you breathe is how you feel, and how you feel is how you breathe. And just feel the sensations of the breath coming in through your nose. Is it cool? Is it warm? As it travels all the way to the back of your throat, down your lungs, into your belly. And just go at your own breathing rhythm now. However it is, just fully connecting to the rise and fall, the sensations of your breath coming in. And just while you're breathing, just pay attention to what is around you with your eyes closed. Pay attention to the temperature of the room, your feet on the floor, your bum on the seat. And just allow for yourself to just sit in this space right now. This space that you've created. And in a moment, I'm going to get you to breathe in for 4 seconds and out for 8. And 3, 2, 1, we're going to take a big exhale and deep breath in, filling your belly up, and exhale, fully releasing, letting go of nothing, no one, no stress, just letting it all out. And deep breath in, filling the rise and of your belly and your chest. And release out through your nose or out through your mouth, whatever suits you. And just go at this breathing rhythm now, in for 3 to 4 seconds and out for double the length of time, 6 or 8 seconds. And big breath in. And be curious and invite this breath of yours, this good friend of yours that keeps you alive, keeps you well, keeps you at peace, keeps you home. And every time you exhale, just release anything that doesn't serve you. The stresses from the day, the stresses from the week, stresses of life. And every time you breathe in hope, courage, strength, love. And breathe out anything, anyone that doesn't serve you. Let it all out. Big breath in, hope, courage, strength, love. Release negative thoughts, energies, feelings, sensations. And just keep going at your own breathing rhythm now. Just fully being present with this space that you're in right now. What you hear, it's all part of this experience. What you feel is now who you are, your being. And realize that you have created space within you and around you. And all you need to do every single moment, any time of the day, is just to take a deep breath in and out. And realize that any time of the day, you can come back home just by closing your eyes for a moment and breathing in and out. And whenever you're ready, feel free to open up your eyes.
My goodness.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
This, Luke.
Beautiful ending. Thank you so much, my
Pleasure.
brothers.
Well, appreciate you both. I appreciate everyone that just
Yes.
tuned in as well.
Please join us next week for more breath work and also great conversation. Thank you again, Andre, Luke, and also our guests that participated and are observing. So, see you guys next
You.
week.
One love.
Bye.